So this is why Reaper is the best software or DAW for making sound design for video games. Compared to other mediums like, I don't know, movies or music, where the thing is linear, you're editing audio in a linear one big chunk of audio. When we do sound for games, we do a bunch, maybe hundreds of different assets that are like little files, little audio files, and they may be, I don't know, variations of the same sound. They may be different sounds completely. Some of them need to loop, so they need to be edited and cut perfectly. Others not, others don't. But yeah, we need to, at the end of the day, have a folder full of hundreds of files, of small files, relatively small. So I want to show you my setup. This is the setup I use in Reaper. So if you're new to Reaper, you will see that this is not how it looks for you, because it's very personalizable, like very customizable. So I have this plugin that shows me the groups and channels to the left, and I have a bunch of new buttons here that I added to have actions just in one click. But I want to show you what I do. So imagine that I have a bunch of different things that I need to sound design for. So how do I do that? So the first thing I think is amazing about Reaper, and I don't know about other DAWs that have this, some do, but I don't know, is subprojects. So this is my main project for the sound design of Super Farming Boy. But if I double click this audio file, you can see it opens a new project in a tab here. This is the sub project that has this this work that I did in here. So you can see I have a bunch of different channels. I have some samples here. I have some MIDI notes here with Serum, with a synth playing some stuff. And if I close this and go back, this is the file that, or the sub project that is inside here. So you can see that these are not wave files or samples. You can see that here it says .rpp, so that means this is a sub project. So how do I do that? So you can select a range of time and then insert new sub project, and you create it, and then start from a blank sub project creating stuff. When you finished and you created some stuff inside of there, you can save it, and when you go back, it will render that and appear here. So for example, I don't know, all of these different chunks are cut from the same sub project. If I double click it, I can go inside and see, for example, that I did for a whole feature, all the sounds that feature needs are inside this project. Like, for example, let me play you a little bit of this. So you can see I have even a whole mixer in here, and it's an entire separate project with a bunch of things, effects and automations and everything. But so if I need to do this for all the sounds of the game, the project will become unmanageable. So what I do is I create all the things for one feature. For example, in this case, it's one character that needs all these sounds. I create them all here, and when I'm happy, I save this, and when you save it, it will render out everything that you did, and it will put it in here. So right now I chopped up all of those sounds, but they are actually inside of the same file. If you check it out here, let me delete this and open this to the side, or move the file inside the clip. You will see that all the sounds are in there. So let me undo this. Hopefully this makes sense. So yeah, and if I need another, I don't know, another feature, for example, let me search for something. This portal sounds opening. 1, 2, 3 variations of the same sound. They are all inside one sub project for the portals. So I made this subproject that has all the things. They open and close and different variations of versions, like 3 of the same sound, but couple of differences in each one. So you can see they all show up in here. So that's something great, because now I have just one channel with all the sound effects, and if I need to do some other crazy stuff, I have space to do that. But it doesn't really matter for what I want to show you here. So that's one thing, the like Russian doll of projects that you can do in Reaper is super powerful. Next thing that you can do here is that once, and this is something new I learned, and I had help from Julián Tinao. I'm giving a shout out to him, because he helped me find a couple actions and things that made this a lot easier. So once you have let's create a new subproject here. So let's imagine that new subproject. Okay, that I need to create more sounds for something. It created an empty file, an empty subproject. I double click it and go inside, and I can start adding stuff here. For example, I will just take, I don't know, explosion. I will add one little sound here like this, and yeah, let's say I will add this, and I will add this. So I have a couple of explosions here. I can work on this all I want. I will turn down the volume of it, and then I can mark the start and the end of the subproject. And now comes the magic, because now when I click save and I go back, you can see this is only here. But now I need to mark all those different sounds. So if I go inside of here, I can double click, shift double click, and shift R to make a region. So again, or I can do it manually. I can select this from here to here, and then insert a region. How do I do that? Here. So, but it's easier to do like shift double click and shift R. Actually, let me show you the keys I'm pressing. Yeah, there it is. So again, shift double click and then shift R, and you have the regions. So now I can name them. So like, for example, explosion 1, explosion 2. Okay, I save it and I go back. And now I can see the regions are inside of the file, or inside of the sample, the whole thing, the render file, the render thing. What I did before was try to select and cut this. Manually is impossible. So I used a shortcut to Control Tab, I think it is, to go from one marker to the other, and then I can chop them like this. Okay, but here's what Julián told me, that you can do this. You can use an action called import item media cues as project markers. So if I click here, it will create the explosion 1 and explosion 2 marker in the main project. So now I don't need to do anything else. If I want, I can trim this if I want to tidy it up, but it's not necessary actually. I can just leave it like that and keep working on more stuff here. Next thing. If I need to edit stuff, I can go back, edit stuff, go back here. That's awesome. And you may think, okay, but why do you need all of those regions? Well, because now when I want to render out all the assets that I need, I go to the render screen and I can use the render matrix in the render under region manager. So what's all of this? So if we go to the region manager, I have a button for that, but you can find it in somewhere. I think view region manager. So you can see all the regions. You will find at the end the ones that we made, the new ones. So explosion 1, explosion 2. That's cool. So to the right, it says if you will render it or if will not render it. Like for example, I want to render this one to the master mix and this one. I don't want to render those because I already did. So you can select what to render and what to not render. And you can be more precise, like select certain like channels or tracks to render, but I'm rendering the master. And you can do that more easily from the render matrix. You can see each one of those. At the top are the regions, and each one of those are the channels. So I can go ahead and select, I want to render all of those master mix channels from those regions. And what will happen now is that when you select, for example, those two, and you go to the render screen, you can tell it to select to render the region matrix. Also, I mean render what you selected here, and you can use names, coded names. So for example, we created the explosion 1 and explosion 2 regions. So I can say, okay, name the file SFB, SFX SFB, for example. That's the code for my sound effects for this game, and then append the region name to the end. So the result will be that it will render SFX SFB explosion 1 and SFB explosion 2.wav. So if I need to render all those files, for example, no, I don't want that. I want this and this. You can see it will render out 54 files with all the correct names. So that's super, super powerful. You cannot do that with other DAWs. Not that I know. So yeah, let's see, for example, what happens. If I render those two, render two files, I will see here that the result, and I can open the folder and I can see all the files. So check this out. This is all the files from this game. I don't think it's everything though. I think there's older sounds that are not in this folder, but you get the idea. If I select everything, you can see there are 335 regions here. That means 335 wave files that I need to render and name correctly. So there's there's no way to do this with other DAWs that I'm aware of. So yeah, that's why again you need to jump to Reaper if you want to do sound design for games. So I don't know if I have left something outside of this video of what I wanted to show, but yeah, that's the way I do it, and it's fantastic. Just at least one of the ways, because in some projects I do stuff a bit differently, but this, doing everything in subprojects, having all the subprojects render out to one main channel, and then that channel you can even keep editing here, because I could say, oh no, I don't like the volume of this, I want to, I don't know, change it, or I want to add an effect to that clip or to that channel. I can do mastering, pseudo mastering of the sound effects here. I don't know. So yeah, you can do a bunch of stuff. You can even, like, one more thing before I go. So once you created those subprojects, I can copy, like for example, I can copy this explosion and paste it somewhere else. Let's say I set up a video here. I have a couple gameplay videos. Let me show you. I have a couple gameplay videos here. And what happens if I want to try and test this explosion here, for example, right? So I test it here. It doesn't make sense. That's hilarious. But yeah, you get the idea. You can test stuff, and also you want to edit it. Well, okay, you enter here. You change the thing. So for example, I want just this little bit because it was too much. Okay, save it, go back, and it's edited. And it's not only edited here, it's edited in the original copy, because it's actually a reference to the same thing. So you can see here, it's also edited. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else to say. It's fantastic workflow. It's yeah, it has saved me hours, days, months, years, maybe having 10 years working on games and having all those tools to your advantage. I think it has been invaluable. So yeah, I hope you can take something out of this. There's lots of other tricks you can do in Reaper. I will bring them to the channel when I don't know when I think of those and I say, oh, this is a cool idea to show. So anything you need to know or any questions, you can leave in the comments and I will read them, I will answer, and I'll maybe do videos about the things that you need. So yeah, that's it for now. My back is killing me.